Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another broadcast of Tarnation TV.com. My name is Blaine Donlin here with Rod Weston. Good evening, Rod. How are you doing today?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Done, racing today. I had a second place finish. Awesome with that. Real life racing. Now we're in here. A new league for us. ASR. You said it's All-Star Racing.
Yep.
A lot of new people, but then again, some familiar faces. A few of the guys from Primetime Racing League are over here in this live event.
Yeah, this is a special live event tonight. End gun violence, 200 miles tonight. And this is the also known as the 4th annual Cannon Blake Hinnant Memorial race. A long time ago, if people are familiar with the history of Tarnation TV, Brian Wolf and I, started messing around with this whole live broadcasting thing a while back. And a little boy that was a tragic story in the news, we just kind of got a bunch of people together and did a race for him, and it's sort of evolved over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been a while. A lot of broadcasts between then and now, but every year we find time to do one of these things. So you'll see down the bottom left-hand corner of your screen the hashtag End Gun Violence. And yeah, we're going to run some laps here again for Cannon this evening. So thanks to all the drivers for showing up tonight. And we got Brian Wolf in the booth right now. Hey, Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Good evening. Good evening. I didn't get to hear the beginning part of that, but man, that sounded pretty good, man. I really appreciate you having us, Blaine.
Oh man, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for reaching out, because this is always a yes for us at Tarnation TV. For me, it'll always be a yes when you're running the Cannon Memorial race every year. So yeah, I know the history, you know the history. If you want to just, take the microphone and run with it, we'll let you do your thing.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, you are definitely included. You and Tarnation TV are definitely included in the history of this event. The first thing I want to start off with tonight is a little bit of that history, and also the reason we're here, is to honor Cannon Hinnant. We're going to go over some of the good things that came out of his. I heard you say that he did lose his life to gun violence back in 2020. 5-year-old Cannon Hinnant, and it was just a tragic story that a lot of good positive things have actually, over the last 4 years, have come out on top of this, and that's why we do this event. The first hashtags were, Justice for Cannon, and one of the other hashtags was Say His Name. And that's what we want to do. We want to keep his name and his spirit and his memory alive, and that's how we do it with the sim racing. We involved Cannon. I actually incorporated Cannon into my race teams early on in 2020 when I thought my sim career was actually coming to an end, and you and I actually didn't meet too long after that. Some of Cannon's family actually saw what we were doing on Facebook and kind of reached out. His aunt and uncle, his aunt Ellie Acock and her husband Archie reached out and wanted to be involved with what we do with the sim racing and stuff. And the relationship from there just grew and grew. And I got to know Cannon more and more. And I believe you and I met early or late 2020, Blaine, and we met actually running together over at Fast with
Yep.
Excuse me, 1 second.
Yeah, over at Fast, their Fast Renegade series run by Randall Coleman. And,
Yes.
We became good friends with a lot of guys over there. And you just brought it up one day, like, hey, could we live stream a thing? And then that just sort of set me on a path of many YouTube tutorials later, figuring out how to pull this off.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a whisper in my ear from one of the other guys.
Race control.
But yeah, but that's when we actually, I was really interested in the live streams. Hang on just a second.
But it's interesting to know that because of this is where Tarnation TV came from. That I did not know.
Yeah, we were racing. Brian and I were in a league. Randall Coleman runs a league called Fast Renegade. Or the Renegade series is actually a Sunday night series. But the Fast League, it's a big league, and it's been around for a very long time. Randall runs a tight ship over there, and it was cool because you just start meeting people online, and stuff just evolved. We had to come up with a name for the channel, and I had Tarnation sitting in my back pocket from stuff I used to do even years before that in certain video games. and I'm like, oh, I could use that name, Tarnation. I never got to use that. So yeah, it was very neat how it all sort of came together, and it evolved into what it is now. But it did start with these memorial races for Cannon and the Hinnant family.
Exactly. I'm glad you took over there for me and kind of told that little part of the story, because I was getting whispers in my ear. I couldn't concentrate on what I was saying and listen to what they were saying at the same time. But I think they're getting it worked out. And in fact, they just reset because we ran a little bit late. But yeah, you and I met. We started the live streaming thing, and then some of the leagues around the community were gracious enough to come and kind of let us practice our craft. You know what I mean? You covered me in that Alzheimer's race that somebody else had. You covered me. You did the race last year. And so that's where Cannon kind of ties in with your and I relationship, which has been good over the last 4 years. We've had so much fun doing this and coming up with new things and new ways to do it. And, in this broadcasting thing, it really adds such a cool element to our hobby. It's really just a neat thing to when you're a creative person. But Cannon was a perfect fit for this whole thing all the way around. You know what I mean? We just fell in love with him, and we don't want him to be forgotten. You know what I mean? He needs to be remembered. And he needs to be, his legacy needs to be all the good things that came out of his tragic passing. You know what I mean? So we want to give back and pay tribute to him and his family. His mom, Bonnie Parker, and his daddy Lee are so gracious in sharing Cannon with us and allowing us to honor him this way. His brothers and sisters, Carly, Ava, Bryson and Braylon, and especially, his immediate family. Like I said, his aunt and uncle Ellie and Archie have just been so, they're big contributors to this event. Both sets of his grandparents, Stephen and Gwen Hinnant, Greg and Wendy Waddell. You know what I mean? These guys are racers in their own right. They're both into racing go-karts. In fact, I just spoke with Stephen this morning. He did real well at the last event. He got 2 wins and a third, I guess, in his heat events racing go-karts. So he's doing really well at that. And I just want to thank these guys and reach out to them because, and let them know Cannon's not going to be forgotten. He won't be forgotten. And, and that kind of leads me into, thanking you guys, especially Blaine, for being involved and being on board with this event, for the last four going on 5 years now. And, when I very first started sim racing, serious points league racing online, ASR, All-Star Racing, is where I got my start, where I started at. I started here. I got my first real taste of, championship type, NASCAR style racing. And I've been all over the sim community with RTG and RTG and TDR and BSR Bomb Squad, where we held the first Cannon race back in October of 2020. And this is where we kind of landed back. So I feel like I've come full circle, not just with Cannon and my racing and stuff, but with this league, ASR. So I really appreciate, Dave Chin letting me bring this event here, and all the admins and the drivers here, and you guys for staying on board. And I also got to thank, before I forget, Mr. Bernie Mobbs from Rolling Thunder Gaming. He painted 7 of the cars that you're going to see here tonight, and each one of those cars represents a little piece of Cannon's story and how he was, and the things that he liked. So we want to emphasize on those. And actually, we're going to go right into talking about some of those cars you're going to see tonight, because we want to cover a lot of the, like I said, we want to go over, we want to celebrate Cannon's life and what his life was about, his spirit and his, and the good things that, he was about. So, but the Cannon's family has given so much back to that community of Wilson, because they really stood around that family when this happened, and they have given so much back, starting with those adopt a highway programs. They put up a couple signs in Cannon's name, in loving memory. And what it is, the program, you put up a sign for somebody, and then 3 or 4 times a year, whatever, you get your family or group together, or whatever, and you walk that stretch of road and keep it clean. So it's given back to the community, over and over and over, year long. And then they also, about the Gillette Athletic Center where Cannon used to play and ride his bike, and that they renovated the playground there, the play apparatus, and fixed it all up so much. It was so like nice and brand new, and it was just so cool looking. They put up these big, huge tarps to keep the apparatus cool, because Cannon complained about the slides being too hot and whatnot. And one of the cars that I want to go over here real quick, or 2 of them actually, 2 or 3 of them, is the Miracle Leagues of Wilson car driven by Todd Wilson tonight, number 11. You're going to see those cars here in just a few minutes, but that car is really cool, because what that is Cannon Hinnant Field was dedicated not too long ago. They built it within the Gillette complex there. They built a ballpark where handicapped children can go and play, and just like they're on a real professional ball diamond. It's all AstroTurf. It's got a big professional scoreboard and dugouts and concessions, everything that you'd see at a professional baseball field, where handicapped kids can go and play. And they dedicated that not too long ago.
That's super cool.
All in his name. And that's just really scratching the surface of some of the, the good things that have come out, and how Cannon's family have, they're doing so right by this kid, by giving back to the community. And these are all things that Cannon would have just absolutely loved, And that just, it just warms my heart to know this family. I really wish, I say this all the time, I wish I didn't know them, but I'm so blessed that I do. So, to Cannon and their family, we love you. We're thinking about you all the time. And we hope you enjoy the race tonight. We're going to get after it here in just a few minutes, I believe.
How long did it take you to set this race up? Because most of the time there's a lot of legwork. You got a custom video made for this thing that we're going to play here shortly. And before we go racing, Brian had a little 3-minute video he put together. So I got that queued up to ready to rock. Like you pour a lot of time into this stuff. Yeah.
This one's actually been almost a year in the making. It's been in my mind ever since we finished up the last one, the 220 that we ran at Talladega, which by the way was a huge success. That was one of the memories that I have with Cannon. That's just me and his, because if you remember, we won the first heat race that night. And that was just like one of those moments that I'll never ever forget, And it was like, it's moments like that have us do what we do. But yeah, this one was pretty much the last 3-4 months I've been collaborating with some other people, trying to get some these things set up and get a date and all that good stuff. And then getting this caliber of drivers, this many together in one place at the same time is not an easy thing to do, especially for a one-off race like this. It's just an exhibition tonight, no points or anything like that. It's just for fun and bragging rights and stuff. But I think we're going to see a pretty exciting race tonight. But yeah, it does take a minute to keep all this together.
Yeah, and first time in a while too. We've actually changed up the track. It's been Daytona, Talladega a bunch of times, and tonight we're at Michigan. So yeah, this is always a fan favorite. Why? This is Michigan NRT400, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a version of. In fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because actually the setup that we're using tonight is one of Autry Waits, and he was. Sadly, we lost him 4 years ago, and we just ran it back in July. We ran his tribute race here. Not here, we ran it at Atlanta, but tonight we're using his setup that he would have used for his cup racing over here, because our Wednesday night cup series actually is open setup here, but we're using one of his for this fixed event tonight.
That answered one of my questions. I knew you guys had invited us to come in and race with you last Wednesday. Unfortunately, I raced somewhere else and I wasn't able to do that. and I knew it was a open setup, so I was going to ask if we were running open or fixed setup tonight.
Yeah, this one is one that I decided that because I him-hawed around about Autry. His nickname was Sunday Trip, and everybody called him Trip. So for Trip's race last month, I didn't have really the time to get a car together to commemorate his thing. So I felt kind of bad. So I wanted to incorporate him into this race. You know what I mean? And I think this is something he really would have enjoyed. And so we're using his setup tonight. God bless him.
Very cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's super cool, man. So yeah, are we getting ready to rock into qualify now? We're about 10 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yeah, we're time remaining. I'm at 9 minutes. Dave took it upon himself, I guess, to reset it again, which was actually pretty smart. I overheard him saying, "Why did he set it for 10 minutes?" But yeah, we've got about 10 minutes to go. I'm looking down through you know what? There's a list of other people that I want to mention.
Okay.
As far as like the good things that the positive things that comes out of a tragedy like this, there's a young lady on Facebook, Brittany Cool. Her name is Brittany Cool. And she runs a Facebook page over there that started out as a dedication page for Cannon. Well, that thing grew into what is now called Save Our Kids. And it's all about children. It's just updates and stuff on missing kids and, stuff you can research and all that. And then there's another young lady that started, her name is Teresa Welch, and you can find her on Facebook too. And she started the Ride On Cannon Foundation, and what they do is provide underprivileged families with like school supplies, bicycles, toys for kids, and stuff like that, all through donations and and things like that. So I got to give a shout out to those folks who stuck with Cannon and just I can't emphasize enough, we just don't want him to be forgotten. You know what I mean? His spirit's always going to be with me, I know. And that's why we do this event. And, it's grown into something really much bigger than Cannon or I. And next year, I think it's going to be even bigger. I've already got thoughts in my head for next year. We'll see how this one goes, but we'll definitely have another one next year, and I think our sights can even be set a little higher.
And the invitational thing is always good because you don't want random people just jumping in here. So like everybody on the track, all these guys, you race with all these guys. And, tonight should be an awesome race, especially at Michigan. It's a super wide track. Like you said, the setup's basically going to be on rails the whole night. What's our lap count for this evening? Because it's 120 miles. So 60?
That's 60 laps. Yep.
Yeah, right on. Like easy math. It's a 2 mile long track. So
yeah, but it's nice and fast and wide. I'm praying for a in a perfect world, there would be no cautions, but I can't ask for that much. But if we can keep them low, I'll be happy.
What's the pit frequency set to?
It's set to 3x, which will mean we're pitting for fuel, right between 17 and 19 laps, somewhere right in there. It's 20 would really be pushing it. Okay. Especially out of the draft. Yeah, it's set to 3x, and it's minimal or moderate
damage.
Medium damage. Yeah,
which is good because that way, if somebody gets a little bit of a bang up, you still might have a chance to be competitive.
Yeah, and since this is a non-points event, yep. We're going to allow for a restart. It's kind of going to be the call of one of the admins or myself to see, if something really disastrous happens, then yeah, you know what I mean. But if there's not too much damage, and we'll just see what happens.
It shows 19 cars out there that have set up a time, and it would really suck to go in the first corner and take out all but 5, and that makes for a more boring racing. Right.
I'm really praying that doesn't happen, but. But in these guys' defense, though, I will say these are the best caliber drivers you're going to find. They haven't raced together. You know what I mean? They come from all over the sim community, and we've got past drivers here, we've got new drivers here for this event. You know what I mean? But the amount of experience that you'll find in here. I'm sure you guys will know a few of the names in here from Talladega Nights and some of the other leagues I know you guys cover. But
there's guys in here. There's guys in here that race not at Talladega Nights that I know from other leagues and stuff that I've run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Dennis Chambers is one. Slowpoke. I've raced with him.
I got okay. Yeah. There's a couple in here a couple late entries that I gotta tell Blaine this one. I might have to yell at the foreign kid.
That's the thing.
The wrecking ball, Ulysses Sandoval, come in late.
You man.
I affectionately call him the foreign kid.
Yeah.
And he's actually racing. It looks like he's driving Ortiz's car. Was Alex Ortiz set to be in this race?
No, but they are a part of that team Wrecking Ball. So him and
Garland Oaks.
Him and Garland Oaks are driving. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. You know, that these guys have brought some other sponsorship into this race, which I'm really proud of. You know, they're driving the twin autism awareness cars, which is, you know, another thing for kids mostly, I would guess. But there's some other sponsorships here tonight, like a good friend of mine, Mike Brush, driving the number 53 Harley Davidson BACA car, and that BACA stands for Bikers Against Child Abuse. And so there's some other, you know, good cause, so to speak, sponsorship coming into this event, which I'm really proud of, and that's what I think it's going to grow into next year. It's going to be such a goodwill event that you know, I'm probably going to have to, just like I had to this time, I'm probably going to have to turn some people away.
Hopefully we do you proud and you want us back.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have too many people.
Yeah, Blaine will always, as long as he's broadcasting, he'll always be a part of this event, because this is where we kind of got started with Cannon. Was a couple of our first tries, you know what I mean, as far as like the live streaming and coming along with different ideas. You know, we had that Cannon cam that time. That was pretty neat. And, you know, he's provided me just some really cool memories in my sim racing here over the last, you know, few years.
Yeah, any ideas you can come up with, it gets my gears cranking as well, going, I wonder if I can pull something like that off. You know, we've been able to pretty much do everything that's ever come up in a discussion. Is like, yeah, let me sleep on that, and then I'll figure out how to do it in one way or another.
Yeah, but I mean, for right now, I mean, everybody knows why we're here. You know, I hope we enjoy the race. I know we ran a little bit long here. I didn't really want to talk for that long, but you know, I pretty much, you're going to meet another good friend of mine here during the video that you mentioned that we put together. Bobby Kiger did us right again this year with an invocation, and that invocation is actually from here. And here's another one that kind of ties in. Bobby Kiger, another good friend of Cannon's family, did an invocation for us, and he did it from a mural that was painted down in I believe, I want to say it's Wilson. I'm not quite sure of the township name there, but you've seen the mural before, Blaine, and the viewers will see it here in just a few minutes. But yeah, he was kind enough to do our invocation again. So I want to definitely thank him for always being a part of this and staying on board with us.
Yeah, it's a 3-minute video, so we'll play it while you guys are qualifying. And then when we get to happy hour, we're going to run through the field. Brian will run through the field here. We'll talk about everybody who was able to show up this evening. So yeah, we got some cool stuff planned for you. Looks like we're within the last minute before we go qualifying here. So we'll get to the video here very, very shortly. So yeah, man, you got anything you want to wrap it up, or what do you want to do?
No, I think we're wrapped up for now. Like I said, I just want to go through, when we start the happy hour, I'm going to have these guys, I'm going to give Dave the command to have them enter the track, maybe at pace speed, or just not to run each other over, so we can get a good camera fix on them. And I'll just run down through them, and viewers can pick their favorites, man. There are some very, very cool paint jobs here tonight. Very cool ones, especially that number 11. And Dave Chin is driving the Marvel Comics. That one is very cool. And one last one I want to mention is John Forgione, number 95, comes to us from East Coast Thunder. he is driving Cannon's Crocs car, and that car is really neat looking. Looks just like the shoes Cannon used to wear.
Yeah, that's a cool paint job. Yeah, there's a lot of cool. We're kind of scrolling through them right now on the broadcast and looking at the different cars that are out here. So a lot of very neat ones, a lot of very cool ones, and probably a lot of really fast ones. But yeah, it looks like qualifying's about to start, so we'll get ready here to check out the video. Looks like we got about 30 seconds until we go back to qualifying. But yeah, thanks, Brian, for the intro. That's a lot easier when somebody else does all the talking.
I just know that I've forgotten somebody. I especially just want to, always send our thoughts and prayers out to Cannon's family, Mama Bonnie and Lee, and they've given us so much. They've just given us so much, you know what I mean, and sharing Cannon with us, and it's a good way to keep his name and his spirit alive, and we're still out here doing it, man, you know what I mean, and it's a fun way to do it, you know what I mean. This is, I've always said this, and I know this is something Cannon would have loved, because his family was into racing in their own, in their own right. Both sets of grandparents still go to the kart races and that, and Cannon loved everything that went fast. He loved his bikes and, his go-karts and all that good stuff. And here we go to Q.
Awesome.
I'm sure I'm speaking for Blaine too, but we're honored to be here.
Remember, one switch at a time.
Yeah, buddy. All right, let's get ready to go to qualifying. We'll check out Brian Wolf's video right now, and we'll meet you back here in the happy hour and meet the drivers, and then we'll go racing. Thanks, guys.
If you would, please join me for today's invocation. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your mercy and grace. We thank you for blessings seen and unseen, blessings known and unknown. Lord, we thank you for all the hard work that's went in for this race today, Lord, to honor the late, wonderful, sweet Cannon Blake Hinnant. To all the drivers, thank you for what you do. To all the back scenes people who's helped put all this together, Lord, we thank you for what they do. Lord, please bless all who participate, bless the drivers, and all who have stood in to support Brian Wolf and his quest to love and remember on Cannon Blake Hinnant. In Jesus' name, amen. Gentlemen, are you ready to race?
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can we love you? Drivers, start your
All right, there you go. A little Cannon tribute video from everybody involved, created by Fluid Studios, also known as Brian Wolf. Awesome job, dude. That I see cutting all that stuff together, grabbing all that music, making that thing work, keeping it tight. Perfection.
Yeah, that was pretty emotional video to put together. We're in we're in happy hour now, so I'm going to instruct these guys to get onto the track for here just a minute, and then we'll run down through them. Okay?
Sweet. Yeah, just let me know which car you want to look at first, and we'll get going.
Making our job easy tonight. We don't have to talk about nothing until we get going racing.
That's it. Brian told me, he's like, he had the whole intro planned out. So I'm going down my notepad, checking these off. So we will meet the drivers next. Everybody will get on the track and just start cutting some laps. And then we'll, get to see all these paint schemes up close and personal. And a lot of very, very cool ones out here tonight. Some specific to the race, some specific to other things, but we're going to find out all about that here shortly. Thanks again to everybody watching. YouTube is popping. Benjamin Snyder in there. Bobby Kiger's watching. Let me see. There's a bunch of people on there commenting. Randy Waugh and Corey, of course.
Oh, Corey. Can't ever forget Corey.
And Jeff's in there too. Yeah, a couple of car files. Sorry?
Mr. Elliott? Or did you say
no,
Jeff?
No. Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. I hope I say this right. Crivello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's Elliott right there. Jeff Elliott. What's up? Blaine and Rod, like Batman and Robin, go Tarnation TV. I'll pick Robert Bleedlove. God bless Cannon and his family.
Fixed yet?
Yep, we're ready to go. Which car you want first?
Oh, okay. All right. I'll just start at the top of my list here. Number 72, Wayne Meldinger, better known as Wayne Dinger, driving the number 72 Tim Hortons machine. Next, we have me, but you can skip over me.
Okay.
The next one I wanted to talk about was number 88, David Shin, league owner, league admin, league main admin. He is driving one of Cameron. Now, if Cannon was going to pick one he wanted to win, it would be this one. He's driving the Marvel Comics featuring Spider-Man, Hulk, and Iron Man on the other side, which is a very cool paint job. Next, we have number 60, Perry Bond, driving another one of Cannon's favorites, Captain America machine. Next, we have number 47, Todd Too Fast Todd, driving the Bad Bones machine. Next is one we mentioned earlier, number 53, Mike Brush, driving the Harley-Davidson BACA car, Bikers Against Child Abuse. Next, we have number 40. I hope I say his name right. I think I always get it wrong. Xavier Negron.
Javier Negron.
Yeah. Driving the Flash. Thank you for that, Rod. Another one of Cannon's favorites. He loved the superheroes. Unfortunately, number 33, Jeffrey Goodpaster, could not be with us tonight. Number 89, Ed Dion from the league, from ASR, came up with his own Batmobile for Cannon. That car is really cool. Features a picture of Cannon on the hood. Next, we have number 95, John Forgione, driving Cannon's Crocs car. That one was one I talked about earlier. That one is really cool looking car. It looks just like the shoes Cannon used to wear. He went everywhere in those Crocs. I'll tell you see him in a lot of pictures of him. Number 711, returning again, John Godfrey in Cannon's favorite candy, Hubba Bubba Bubble Tape. It should be like a pink and purple, brightly colored car. That one's always fun to watch and one to see in the front. I don't know if Nelson made it tonight. Nelson Rodriguez, I don't see him on the list. Number 08, Mike Mangrum. I'm not seeing him. Is he here?
I don't see a 08 either.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Number 8, Slowpoke, driving the Vanilla Coke. I believe he started on the pole this evening. Driving the Vanilla Coke, ASR Slowpoke. Number 21, Randall Wall, another car painted by Bernie Mobbs, driving the Spider-Man car, another one of Cannon's favorites. Number 4, Robin Hudson. This one's kind of significant. He is driving the Snohomish I hope I'm getting this right, Snohomish Sheriff's Department car. And if you'll notice on the rear quarters, he also carries the Wilson County Sheriff's Department, or the police department's badge. That represents MJ Harrison, who was the officer first on scene with Cannon when he actually just stepped in against evil and helped Cannon out and his family. But we want to recognize him. So Robin Hudson's carrying that tonight. Next we have number 11, Todd Wilson. This was the other car. This is very important to me. The Miracle League Cannon Hinnant Field race car, the baseball themed car, because Cannon really would have loved this, I believe. And that, they dedicated that field in his name and all, and that's another just one of the tremendous things that come from a tragedy like this. Number 931, Robert Breedlove is next. He is driving the Nationwide Children's Hospital sponsored machine, and that is just outstanding. Number 48 is Jimmy Johnson here tonight.
Negative.
Okay. Number 67, Garland Oaks. And also, we can show Ulysses next, are driving the autism awareness cars. Those cars are really sharp looking. That's a really neat thing to bring to this event. And also Ulysses Sandoval, number 0, driving that sister car for autism awareness. Next we have number 86. Andrew Miller, or Andrew Ament, as we know him by, is driving Brele's Journey. This is in honor of a little girl that they know over at RTG. This is special to them in the sense that this girl suffers with some type of vasculitis issues, and she's kind of struggling in and out of the hospital, this type of thing. So we want to wish her well. And just another outstanding thing to bring to this event, to honor these kids. Number 78 is next. Kelly Causey, we know him. He is driving the Star Wars machine tonight, which is another thing that I think Cannon was kind of into. The last entry I have here is for the number 10, Jim Salad Company. Dennis Chambers. And last but not very least, I believe Gary Mingus is here in his Captain Crunch car. So there you have it. There's all the cars we have for tonight. We have 2 minutes to go until green flag, and looks like these guys are having some fun with it down here.
Yeah, thank all these guys for going out there and going for a drive. We got us to get a good look at all these rigs, man. Got some really cool looking paint jobs out there right now. And yeah, man, full field. This could be a good race, dude. We're pumped to call this thing. And what are you driving? You obviously you can't drive and talk about it. If you want to get out there right now, we'll focus on you.
No, it's okay. There's only 2 minutes to go. I haven't had any practice tonight. I think I was able to turn 4 or 5, 6 laps. So I scratched Q, and but my car. It's the End Gun Violence.
Yep.
Just the hashtag. Enough. We've had enough. You saw in the video. What happens, not just in this country, but around the world, man. I mean, 88 people die daily in this country from gun violence. It's now the number 1 cause of death in kids 18 and under.
Wow.
Out of those 18, 12 between 12 and 14, give or take, will be kids under 18 that'll be killed or injured from gun violence. It is the number 1 cause of death in kids 18 and under. Coming in at number 2 would be car crashes. Coming in at number 3 is overdose. So it's a national health crisis. I mean, it really is. And just if we can spread some awareness, and maybe some, these next generations coming up behind us will put a little bit more value, or be taught to put a little bit more value on human life. Because that's what it boils down to. For me, it's, I don't want anybody to misconstrue this and think that I'm against guns, because I'm really not. It's not about guns. It's about gun violence, and which needs to come to an end. And, and that's why we're here. So I appreciate all you guys. Thank you to all these drivers. Special thanks again to Bernie Mobbs he painted 7 of these cars you're seeing out here tonight. Perry Bond, David Chin, he painted mine. the Crocs car he painted, and that number 11, that Todd Wilson car. Keep your eye on him, because all these guys are just brutal competitors.
That's good, man. That's good. That'll be great. That'll be great show, because, you know, again, these guys run open setups. They run fixed. Somebody built this setup, obviously, and this league has been around for a very long time. And, of course, they're associated with a lot of really good drivers. And, yeah, thanks again to ASR Racing N2K3.net. I think that's their website. It's on here somewhere.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to, I'm sorry, you guys are going to have to shove me outdoor, man. Me and Cannon got some work to go do here.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
There you go, everybody. Brian Wolf getting ready to do some racing here right now. Thanks for tuning in to the race. We've been live here for about 50 minutes. So big elongated pre-show this evening. But that's all good, because that's how we do this thing. But yeah, thanks again to ASR for hosting the event this evening. That's the one thing about these special events. You always need somewhere to run these things. So they are offering up their race server and, of course, their TeamSpeak services as well to all of us to use to be able to pull this off tonight. So thanks again, ASR.
Yeah, now we can get into some racing.
Yeah, man. Oh, you were out racing today, and you said you got second place?
Second place today, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty
cool.
cool.
Real cars.
Real karts, yeah. Just like he was talking before about go-karts. I race a go-kart, and got shout out to my buddy Dylan and my sister. They're part of my crew, my Jim Carey. We had a good day today.
Nice. All right, we are gridding up. I've just retired my car. I would have started at the back anyway, but
yeah, pretty good feel of cars. It'd be interesting to see how things go here. Nice looking cars out there. I have to agree with some of those are pretty cool, and some of the reasons that they're there are even better.
yeah, they all got the special sponsors on there. Some guys just running the normal sponsors. It's all good. We just want drivers on the track.
My biggest fear tonight was that we were going to join in here and we weren't going to know anybody. We know half the field pretty much. Said there before, there's drivers that I haven't seen for a long time that have actually used to race at other leagues. So that's pretty cool.
That grid looks weird to me. I don't know why.
I think we probably both had the outside, so
yeah,
our cars, so it put us in the back, but the inside line's got more cars in it.
Yeah, it just looked like some of the cars were kind of popping in and out of there, but maybe that's just a little bit of a grid thing. We got the pace car looks cool. It's like a state trooper.
See, I don't see that, so that's really cool though.
Oh,
like
okay,
before,
yeah.
that looked pretty cool. The Ford, that looks like a cruiser. That's pretty neat. There are some pretty nice looking cars out there. Dennis Chambers, I happened to click on his name earlier, and I see a real race car that's painted just like what he is. So I'm wondering if that's something he raced in the past or whatever. But a real picture of a real race car painted exactly like the one he's driving tonight.
Oh, cool. Who's that? Chambers?
Chambers on. I just happened to be clicked on to the Facebook, and you know how you can put the avatar over there. He had a picture of a Ford Thunderbird, looked just about like exactly like what he's running.
Nice.
I like the two, kind of I call it like a lifesaver looking autism awareness cars. They look pretty cool.
They are super cool. Yeah, a lot of really talented painters, of course. And like Brian mentioned too, Bernie Mobbs was one of the ones who painted about 7 or 8 of these things out here tonight. So that's really neat. I wonder if it's B. I've got some cars disappearing here. I don't know why. I'm having a core issue. It would have dumped me by now, I would have thought. I had that repaired before the race started. But here we go, green flag racing.
Yes, absolutely. We just hit the green flag. You got Slowpoke out there kind of ironically on the pole. I don't know some of these guys, but I know one guy I probably keep my eyes on, Andrew Miller. He's usually pretty good at everything he does in the sim racing world. So he may not be, he's right up there in third right now. He just kind of took a look down underneath the 11, and I do fight Todd Wilson. You got to give me a few minutes to get some of these names right, coordinating with their numbers. Andrew Miller is usually pretty good. I've raced against Slowpoke before. I cannot remember what league it was, but he's always been a pretty good racer.
I've always seen the name Slowpoke around. I don't know what his real name is, but he's usually up front. And look where he is now, position number 1, leading lap number 1 will be Slowpoke himself, and number 8.
60 laps. So in 60 laps, we said earlier, I think they could do about 17. You might be able to do a little bit more if you conserve fuel and whatnot. It's 3X pits, so you can see about probably 3 pit stops tonight, depending on how the cautions fall too. So
that's the thing, and this is a drafting track. You got Michigan International Speedway, super wide. I mean, you could go, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide lane. You're not going to go 8 wide, but you could probably say it's like 8. It's 8 lanes wide. You're not going to see 8 wide racing because you do have to lift. This isn't. Yeah.
There's room enough, but not at 200 miles an hour.
No, exactly. Coming off those corners, it's not going to happen. But it is a wide track. It's an awesome track. It's a lot of fun, this track. The pit road, though, what's your method to get down on pit road? Because I just kind of send it down there. And then once I get the car straightened up, I just slam the brakes on. Because you do have a long runway till you actually have to be at speed.
I usually will pick, I'll do it a couple times in practice. Early and try to find a spot on the wall where I know at that point I can lift, turn left, and then, like you said, as soon as you get off the banking onto the flat where you can actually get right back into the gas, and then try to make up as much time as you can getting into pit road, hard on the brakes, get down to the speed limit, and then get into the pit road. And then the hard part is coming out. There's a lot of times these Michigan tracks, we didn't get a chance and opportunity to get out and practice it. But a lot of times it's because you have to exit on the backstretch. Sometimes it gets a little bit tricky on the exit down at the bottom of the track where the banking, there's no banking basically. We'll see how that works out later.
It's a tricky pit road. It seems like it's tricky. Like some guys think it's tricky, but like you can find that way down there. I found just going full speed, just cranking it in there, and then once you can settle the car down, because this is a simulator, once you can stabilize the car, you can just hammer on the brakes and get her slowed down before that commitment line. But yeah, it is, that transition is scary sometimes, especially if you're beside somebody. So it's like you can slow down early, and that's totally fine. You just need to know who you're racing with, because if somebody slows down early and you're a guy who likes to just go right in there and crank that thing, you got to be careful because you could be running some people over.
It's easy to be able to make a mistake. It's a very inviting, to get down there and do that, but it can be real easy to make a mistake.
And that's a high speed mistake if you do make a mistake.
Everybody's just really settled in. Some of the back cars, cars in the back are kind of running 2x2, but for the most part, everybody's kind of just settled in. It's a fairly long race, so you want to try to save your car. Obviously, we're moderate damage, which is good. You can take a pretty good licking and still maybe be relatively competitive, but you nose it into the fence. You'll still be able to run. You just ain't gonna be able to run that fast. Settle down, running laps down.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for watching on YouTube. We got what we got in here? Sheldon Hesselton. It was a good day for Rod and his go-kart. Of course, Brad's in there too. Thanks for watching, Brad. Have a good race. Broadcast looks amazing. Benjamin Snyder says Slowpoke is Wayne Hawk. So we actually have
we have a name to go with it.
Now, is it Hawk or Hotch? Because it's Hoch. He only knows this because of his Race LM profile. So is the name Wayne Hotch even a real name? Maybe not. You could also fake that too. But at least we actually can call Slowpoke Wayne if we want.
He managed to lose the lead. Todd Wilson for a minute, and then Andrew Miller is now on the bottom, trying to get clear of Todd Miller. Wilson, sorry.
Todd Wilson, right there now.
Like I said, Andrew Miller he's out front now, and he's gonna be a tough guy to beat.
It's a pretty good race up front off the start. Like these guys let these cars get hooked up, and they definitely have settled in.
I'm not sure with this version. I'm not really sure with this version of the track what the tire wear is like, because I know like the original Michigan, it had fairly decent tire wear. You get into the BR, you can roll high side, safe tires. I'm not really sure where the grip is on this one. It's the first time I've ever actually seen this version of Michigan, so we'll have to keep an eye on and see what they do. Who maybe if they run the high side or stay on the low side.
Well, we were talking about Slowpoke. He got out to the great start, led let me see here. He led the first 6 laps, and now he's kind of faded back to 4th, which isn't horrible. But do you think could you burn out your tires that quick within 6 laps?
with a 3X pit, remember they can only do about roughly, probably flat out about 16 laps. So we're on lap 10 already. So there's a good potential chance that he might have burned up his stuff a little bit, pushed it a little too hard, and then we're going to be pitting here within 6 laps or so. So
yeah, it's a possibility. And we're just quickly flipping through the field here. We got Randy Wabi and tailgated by ASR Dinger. A 72 car that's supposed to look like a Tim Hortons, but somehow I don't have it. Sorry, Dinger. Perry Baum behind him, and that Captain America number 60, being followed by ASR DC. Running the Incredible Hulk and the Spider-Man. DC is obviously not DC Comics. He's just running Marvel, guys. That's a cool one. I like HUD. He's running the number 4. Looks like a sheriff.
Yeah.
Just a black and white.
I saw that earlier. I thought that was pretty cool looking.
Yeah. He's got the gun violence tag across the back bumper of that thing.
We were probably, as he was saying, he gave us a little insight. We're probably about 6 laps as Todd Wilson's just trying to make a move on the inside of Andrew Miller there. Got Slowpoke pushing from behind, but of course, and we got Kelly Kaza up there too that's trying to make a move. So the guys that saved a little bit, I think, probably now are starting to come to the front.
So where do you want to be to get to this pit road safely? Like, are you lining up, running the apron? Are you hollering out to guys a full lap in advance? Can you pit side by side? I mean, I wouldn't want to be pitting side by side coming into this pit road.
So let's say you run with these guys on a weekly basis. You know where you're going to go. You know what I mean? Because I know Andrew Miller. I know how he's going to pit. I know what he's going to do. Everything. But a lot of these guys don't run against each other. They've raced against each other in some certain times. But so to me, you don't want to lose the time being out there by yourself, but you want to try to get hooked up with somebody that can pit the speeds that you can pit. Some people can make up some incredible time by coming off the pit road, as we talked before, and just, using every bit of it and getting to that line, getting to their pit and out. So you want to try to keep with somebody that's going to be able to pit about your speed. So that way, when you come out, you guys are together. 2 cars are faster than one. The draft does play.
Yeah, the draft does play. It's not a super speedway here, but the draft will play, especially if you're doing what Kelly Kazi's doing right now, just kind of staying in behind Mr. Wilson in the 11, Todd Wilson. You're going to get that little bit of a speed boost, but you can also just kind of stay there, and you won't have to be at 100% throttle. So that's to your advantage on a track like this, having the lift going into the corners. He's not going to get away from you. He's definitely going to help you save a lot more fuel than you would at an actual super speedway like Talladega or Daytona with that restrictor plate in play. Here you could probably even only, what do you think, like maybe 96% throttle, and in the span of a long distance race, you could actually save some serious fuel.
If you started at the beginning and really did it, you might be able to save a lap or two.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm assuming. Because how the setup is, that plays part of it, how the gearing is and whatnot. If you're someone like Andrew Miller and you saved enough and you could go there, and we've seen Andrew plenty of times. He's going to be quick in and out of the pits. Pitting a lap later by yourself can sometimes be a benefit. So the biggest fear you have is they get out there for you. Now, speaking of Andrew Miller, I just saw him drop his gear.
Yep, Todd Wilson throws it down into the chute, and
yep. Now you saw Kelly Kaza there.
Perfect.
You saw Kelly Kaza there not get in as fast as those guys did. So that's basically a good idea of what we were talking about. Pretty much everybody is on pit road. I'm trying to see if we have any that stayed out. USC Sandoval did, yeah. And ASR HUD, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. So,
Miller's got to back up.
That's going to hurt it.
And he's stuck against the wall, so he's not going to be getting any left side tires on that car.
That can save everybody time.
Yeah,
but yeah.
The only reason he's not getting lefts is because he's too close to the wall. The pit crew can't actually get down behind it. Yeah. And your crew chief will yell at that. He's like, we can't change your left side tires. Next time, get farther away from the wall. He'll make sure to let you know.
And that's one of the questions that we don't know. We don't know, can you run two whole sessions on left side tires. You may be able to.
So HUD decided to stay out last lap and lead one. So HUD is now pitting here.
That goes back into the play where if he can get in and out quick enough, he won't lose any time. Where a group, you could lose time.
I believe HUD retired. Looks like HUD retired. I followed him into the pits, and he stopped in his stall and retired. HUD has retired for no fuel. Ooh, according to we've got a yellow flag out here now as well. So we'll go into replay mode and find out what happened there.
I see a bunch of tire smoke and tire marks. And Brian Wolf's car, the back of his car is pretty much destroyed.
Oh, no. So I wonder what happened with HUD, because he drove to the pits and then retired. I'm wondering... Do you have a timestamp on exactly what happened here?
I'm working on that right now.
Because for some reason, I'm running at 100% quality here, but I'm getting a lot of cars popping in and out.
I'm watching Brian Wolf come off pit road here.
Okay.
Had to happen somewhere around, I'm in a blind spot there. Let's see.
See, for Brian's car keeps disappearing for some reason for me.
Okay, Brian,
sure
Breedlove went into turn 3, lost control of the car, which collected up Brian Wolf.
Okay.
And that's the reason for our caution.
And I don't know why some of these cars are disappearing for legitimate, 10-second spots here.
So Ulysses Sandoval stayed out. I believe he was one of the cars that stayed out, and he is shown as our leader. So I think he was on pit road or, trying to get to pit road when it happened. If he was on pit road already and was able to get to his pit stall, it might put him out as the leader. It's in one of those unfortunate things that the game kind of does, because he never took the yellow. He might be out in the lead, but we'll see. He's dropping back now. So,
okay. Yeah, we were unable to get a replay for you. I don't know why, but I was having issues with the core before the race, but we got it fixed because the game's reporting that I'm running at a 100%. But for some reason, I've got cars in the back that are disappearing, coming back and forth. We're following the front pack, and it didn't look like any issues. And I was looking for a replay on that one. I couldn't actually see the cars. I could see the smoke, but I couldn't see the cars.
After the pit stops and all that, and then the caution kind of came out, Todd Wilson's going to be your leader.
Mm-hmm.
Slowpoke is going to be second. And Randy Waugh, we're familiar with Randy over to Primetime Racing League and Talladega Nights. He is currently running in third. Go Corey. Dennis Chambers in fourth.
And Chambers in that cool-looking number 10. On screen right now, upcoming broadcasts here. We got Primetime Racing League this Friday, the August 31st. Broadcast goes live at 9 p.m. Also goes live at 9 p.m. on the 6th and on the 20th of September. And then on September 28th, Breast Cancer Awareness Race for the Cure, presented by Nate Balser himself. Busy month coming up in September. All those races will start at 9 p.m. Yeah, for me. Because, you
I'm not available on Friday. So.
No. Yeah, Rod. Don't call Rod on Fridays. And that's when I call somebody else.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Miller, Josh Tew, Jeffrey Elliott.
Oh, yeah. You'll never run out of people that want to try this.
No, I mean, it must be doing something right. People want to sit in the co-host seat.
Yep.
That's a lot of fun. It's a cool way to... I have been denying a lot of races, though, just because I'm getting back into actual behind the wheel. Right now, the work schedule is keep me out a little bit late, but in the next couple of weeks in September, everything switches around again, so I'll be able to hopefully strap the wheel to the front of the desk a lot more and just get back into racing. Kind of comes and goes,
You got into the last mega marathon race. You guys, I think you guys got a few penalties that kind of hurt you. You had some good races.
Yeah, the one before that, though, we actually won it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you lost one of your Coors drivers to a really good team that finished second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mega before that, I was on a winning team. Mm-hmm. That was very cool. It's a lot of fun, those mega team races controlled by Jeffrey Elliott there at Talladega Nights. Going down the list right now, we've got the fastest lap on the track as of right now, 36.075 seconds at 199.4 miles per hour. Held right now currently by Perry Vaughn in the 60. See if we can find Perry in the 60 if he's out here.
You gotta be careful of those quiet types because they will sneak up on you. Perry's a heck of a driver.
It shows right now Perry Vaughn with no laps led, but we do have Todd Wilson with 8, Slowpoke with 6, running first and second. Ulysses Sandoval has a lap led, Andrew Miller has 4, and ASR HUD also has 1, but retired with no fuel. And John Forgione is also retired, doesn't say why. I wonder about HUD, though, because he drove back to the pits, and I'm confused about that one, because we watched him drive back to the pits, and then the car got retired. I wonder if he hit the wrong button. Maybe he wanted to jump into the options and turn the sound up or something and hit retire by accident.
It could be like it says, no fuel, so there is a possibility that he just couldn't make it to his pit stall. But in that case, you just let the game will pull you in, drag you in here, and then you got to wait a little while for towing and whatnot.
Right, because it's still the option if you run out of fuel to get a tow, and then you would wait the 1 or 2 minutes for the tow to happen and then actually fuel the car back up. That's why I think it's strange. I guess he just decided to retire, but...
If any of you people out there that have listened to us do this before, you know I am not a big fan of super speedway racing. But if you happen to be in a super speedway race and you look behind you and you see Perry Bond behind you, hang on, because you're going to the front. He's going to push you. Really good pusher.
He is a really good pusher, yeah. Back under green flag racing here now, still focused on Perry in the 6th position. Driver that Captain America number 60 with the fastest lap on the night so far. Black flag being shown to Mike Bush in the 53. Probably just for a pass on the inside. I don't know if this league clears those. I guess we're going to find out. They probably do. Usually black flags on the restart will be cleared unless it's blatant. That's a cool looking car, man, the Harley Davidson. He said it was sponsored by BACA, which is super, super cool. Bikers Against Child Abuse.
Slowpoke, he set up the Todd Wilson there on coming out of turn 3, dropped to the bottom, was able to clear him. Dennis Chambers is right now behind Todd Wilson. We'll just have to see, if Slowpoke is running this car too hard and drops back again. We lost Andrew Miller up near the front. So.
Looks like he slid up a little bit. That might be on purpose. Sorry, what were you saying about Andrew Miller?
I was just looking to see where he was hiding. He is back there in the 10th position. Right now, currently trying to get by Ulysses Sandoval and John Godfrey.
Yeah, it looks like they're scrapping at those guys, trying to find a line.
They're running side by side, and he's like just waiting for one of them to figure out which one's going to go.
We'll focus on Godfrey here.
I just keep an eye on different people in the back, and Andrew's, he's one of those guys. He's not going to stay back there very long if he don't have to.
Yeah, we like it when cars get next to each other because it ends up being a pretty good show. So we're currently focused on John Godfrey in that hub above a car, seeing if they can battle this out. This is for 8th position. The 711 currently in 8th position at the line.
One of the field's pretty much kind of lined up again. I think you'll see if Slowpoke does end up running the car too hard, he may drop back. Maybe he's learned a little bit from the last run and it's like, it's kind of time to save a little bit more. Todd Wilson's right there behind him, Dennis Chambers, and then you got Randy Waugh, who's running up in 4th. And the other one is Ed Dion, this 89 of Ed Dion, the old Batman car, running in the top 5. I think they're just kind of settling down a little bit here. The early part of these runs is some of these guys seem to just get in the line, let's burn off some laps, and then near the end of the run, ones that have saved a little bit, maybe they'll work their way to the front. Of course, we figured about 16 laps, and they pretty much all kind of pitted around that caution. So unless some of the guys in the back might have pitted again, I didn't take and notice any of that. So
I can give you those stats. Do you have GNL TV running?
Yep.
Yeah, because we got Andrew Miller with 2 pit stops. We've also got 2 Fast Todd with 2 pit stops. ASR DC 88, ASR Dinger, Garland Oaks. All those guys near the back have pitted twice.
So that was a smart thing. You're going to be back there. Might as well put tires and fuel in it. You'll be able to go a little bit longer and save a little bit. And at the end of this run, should it go to the point where people have to pit again, then you'll be able to go buy them. Hopefully, you got somebody around you that'll you guys can draft together. And like I said, I always hate pitting with a group of guys because sometimes stuff happens and you got to pile up going into the pits.
Especially later in the race, because then you don't really have that much time to kind of recuperate from a mishap. You don't have enough time to remedy the problem, So currently focused here on the 89 of Ed Dion in the 89. And we are watching, your top 8 drivers currently. Now, let me see. Out of the top 12, 11 of them have only pitted once. Andrew Miller is the one who's got 2 pit stops under his belt. So that's interesting. Miller will be the one to watch on this next pit cycle. He might actually be able to stay out a little bit longer, maybe avoid what you were just talking about, pitting with a group of people and maybe getting stuck up in some tomfoolery.
I think you're going to see that Todd Wilson back there he's kind of taking the measure of Slowpoke. He pulled down, drafted with him, pulled up to see if Dennis Chambers would go with him, which he would have, but he didn't quite have the run there. So he's starting to take a look at him, trying to figure out what way he can get by Slowpoke. These guys in the front, they're about their MO. They get about this part in the run, and they start trying to see what they can do for making moves.
Yeah, he's keeping the close spacing on that. Trying a little bit different lines, too. I'm trying to see. They're entering the corner. Wow, I just looked at... Did you check the speed entering that corner?
I did not see that.
209 miles an hour on the 11.
That's flying.
Yep. Whoa.
Just pulled down to the bottom side. Now he's got Dennis Chambers with him. But again, like you said, the draft is going to help. So that's why you're seeing a big difference in speed from Slowpoke to Dennis. You get 3 cars in line. He's just basically, it's like pulling a parachute. He's just going to slow right down.
Yeah, watching the car in the back here. So here's 200 miles an hour at the stripe. Going into turn number 1 at about 208, 209 again. And then they slow down at the apex about 185.
Slowpoke was about 205.
Yeah, these guys are getting some
crazy.
Wild draft coming into that turn. That's crazy. Let's see how high they get going into this one. Not as fast. 205. We've been following the 10 of Dennis Chambers the last 2 laps, by the way.
So now you remember, we're getting into that part of the run where tire wear is starting to come into play. Todd Wilson is just kind of running around behind Slowpoke, and now Slowpoke's back to 4th. Kind of the same MO that he had before. I think he's just running maybe a tad bit too hard. Needs to be a little bit more conservative on his tires.
Yeah, we're looking at probably, what do you think, 2 more pit stops to get to the end of this thing? It might, we've only had 1 caution flag here in 32 laps.
Yeah, they could do 16 laps, as Brian said earlier, about 16 laps, fairly easy.
Right.
You could do more. You'd have to save a little bit. Then Brian Wolf just pulled down the pit road, but his car is pretty beat up. But I think you see some of the guys are starting to get racy. These are the guys that I honestly believe that have just been riding around, saving a little bit of tire. Because we've seen this happen especially with 38X. By the time you get pretty darn close near the end of the run, if you haven't saved anything, all of a sudden that thing gets so tight and people will just start driving by in the corner.
It looks like Brian Wolf may have pulled the pin. The car, like I said, did look pretty banged up, and I'm not sure why I couldn't get a hold of that replay to see what happened, but like you said, it was a lot of rear-end damage. It looked like some passenger side damage to that car as well. Currently following the 47 of Too Fast Todd.
I was checking out U-Man. He's back in the 4th position. He's starting to just try to march his way a little bit towards the front. Like I said, I think he's probably one that saved a little bit of his tires. But look, but he's only pitted once, and the only guy that pitted twice is Andrew Miller. And I'm beginning to think that Andrew's probably just not pushing it as hard. He knows that he is probably going to be able to run maybe a lap, maybe two more than the rest of the guys. Right. So I think he'll probably save his tires for when they start pitting. At that point, you know, you don't want to lose any time. You're going to want to start pushing that thing, head it to the front, or basically do the best qualifying laps you can so you don't lose any time out there by yourself.
Currently focus on the 12 here, Gary Mingus. Too fast behind
Captain
him.
Crunch.
Yep, Captain Crunch, and he's right behind Dinger. To answer the question in the chat, Ben Snyder says, come on, fellow Maverick racers, you can do it. How many cautions are we at so far? So far, we have only had one.
So Slowpoke pitted there on this last lap. He's getting 4 tires and fuel. He's just coming off the pit road now. Yep. So we'll see how that plays out when everybody else pits. He pitted by himself, so may not have the draft. But if he can get out there and actually get hooked up with anybody else that's out there. So even if it costs him a bit of time, but if he can get drafting with somebody, you know, and then make up that time that he might lose not being in the draft, he'll be all right.
Yeah, as you can see, too, like the draft on that front straightaway, getting those cars up over 205 miles an hour, almost 209, headed into turn number 1. Without the draft, you're not that fast.
I'm watching Garland Oaks just pulled down to the pit road. I haven't seen the other guys. I'm watching Slowpoke, who's out there by himself, and he is coming into the turn 1 at about, I would say, just about 200 miles an hour. So he's 5 miles an hour slower by himself.
Yeah, or more, actually. Like if it's, they're entering that turn at 208 sometimes in a draft of, 5 or 6 cars. It's a big deal, especially on the front and back straightaways. Yeah, he hit 200. We're looking at Slowpoke here now. 200 going into turn number 3 and 4.
Now he's tucked behind Perry Bond, so he's going to have some draft. He's dropping low because he's got new tires. I don't know if Perry Bond's actually pitted yet or not. I can
Perry
find
Bond
out.
has not.
No.
He still has
he's
going to
be able
pit.
to. She should drive by him relatively easy, which he does. Basically, he's got newer tires. He's going to be a lot faster through the middle. Perry's just going to tuck right in behind him and use him to keep pulling him along.
It's a good advantage for Perry, too. You might have a little bit more chewed up tires, but at least now you got the, if you do have to conserve a little bit, you're able to tuck him behind a car with fresh tires and utilize that draft.
And we have a few more. We got Dinger and the 47. I didn't catch that one real quickly. They just left pit road. I believe Randy Waugh pitted. They hadn't pitted yet.
I'm surprised at Perry. It's showing me... Oh, it's showing me he does have 2 pit stops. Okay, so maybe...
he just pitted.
Yeah. It took my... it takes my ticker about half a lap to update those stats, so...
Yep. Too fast, Todd. Okay, that's the one I was looking for, the 47. Sorry about that. I apologize to Todd, but there's a new car. I know the 47 to be Andrew Miller, so...
Randy Waugh in 7th. Slowpoke back in 8th. Sorry, go ahead.
88 came up, and him and Dinger almost touched. It was really, really close. Didn't quite clear Dinger, and he was on newer tires, so he was faster. So
yeah, the 88 of ASR DC. Denny Carroll in the chat. High five to Denny. Blaine and Rod, you are doing an awesome job. Well, we can call it a night then. We've got Denny's approval.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
I just think I saw something interesting.
Okay.
The 11 of Todd Wilson is clutching. So remember, I don't know. We believe we're 20 laps to go. I'm not sure exactly what lap he last pitted on, but he is clutching it. So I'm wondering if he thinks that he might be able to do that 20 laps and just about make it.
So he clutched going on just a little bit. He's clutching a little bit going into the turn. Let's watch it. We got him locked on here close so we can hear his engine.
He's right there. He just clutched it.
He clutches at the apex.
So I know I'm very familiar with that, and that clutching will save you fuel.
Does that not throw the balance of the car off?
It can, and it literally depends on how you drive it. You basically are free rolling it into the corner, and so sometimes maybe you'd go in the corner and you're just going to let off and let the car roll, and it usually does pretty good. Usually I involve a little bit of trail braking with that just to make sure it doesn't break free. Unfortunately,
that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I like that because, if he does that the whole entire race, that definitely adds up. Like, that's not going to work if there's 3 laps left. Like, what's the point? But if he's been doing it for the last 42 laps, he's probably been doing it the whole race. We just noticed now because we're professionals.
Yeah, and Dennis Chambers is also doing the same thing. He's clutching.
Yeah, you can actually see the cars ducked down closer to the ground. Like, it almost looks like the suspension gets compressed when you put the clutch in on this mod anyway.
I'm waiting to see if Ed Dion
is. There it is. And it'll pop back up. Yep, that's a clutch.
So Ed is your first driver. He's currently in third, and who's not clutching. And
we got a telephone call. Yep, Rod's going to get that phone. I'm calling Rod on the phone. Hey, Rod, what's going on? Nah, I'm not calling Rod on the phone. I don't know. That would be long distance. Thanks again to everybody for watching and interacting with the YouTube channel, Benjamin Schneider. Danny Carroll, everybody else. It's a good race, man. We've had 1 yellow flag. We're at lap 44. Unfortunately, Brian Wolf, the guy who got this whole thing going, had to retire for damage on 11 laps ago. ASR HUD is also out with no fuel, and John Forgione, unfortunately, he is out, also retired. Only got to make 1 pit stop. Current laps led, Todd Wilson, 20. The 11 car of Todd Wilson has led 21 laps this evening. And Slowpoke in the 8 has led 14 laps this evening. Currently running in 7th, Wilson currently in 1st. There's Kelly Causey in the 78 Star Wars car. Robert Breedlove in the 931. Andrew Miller there in the 86. In front of him, John Godfrey in the most colorful car on the track this evening, the 711 John Godfrey, the Hubba Bubba sponsored car. Ed Dion in the 89. 89 Batman car. Picture of Cannon on the hood. Dennis Chambers in the 10. Todd Wilson in the 11, your leader currently.
Two lead cars are still clutching it, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can do the distance.
There's Randy Wan, the 21, Spider-Man. Got Corey watching from home. The pace car. Nobody cares about the pace car.
There are leagues where they lead the most laps.
Garland Oaks in the 67, directly behind Javier Negron. In the 40 car there, running 13th and 14th.
It'll be interesting to see when the 89 of Ed Dion decides to do the pit, because he's not clutching, nor is John Godfrey, and nor is Andrew Miller. So these guys are going to probably pit. The guys in front of them, I don't know if they can make it or not. We're not out there. We know roughly they can do 16 laps.
Yeah, they can't make it.
Brian told us they can do well, but think of it this way. All right, so let's say you are Ed, you're John Godfrey, and whatnot. You've got to pit, and you've got to take a tank and a half of fuel. Okay,
right.
You're going to go in, you're going to do it, you're going to get it done, you go. If you only have to tank half a tank of fuel, you might get in and out real quick and quicker. Maybe you may not get tires, but you'll be in and out of the pits quicker. You may get a little bit of a lead that keeps you out in front.
Yeah, there's a few things that come into play now late in the race, especially under green, as long as we've been Can the tires hold up? Do you skip changing tires? How much fuel do you get if you're clutching? You know, like it might recommend 1 can, but if you're clutching, maybe you know you can get half. I mean, these guys know a lot of these weird little things, you know.
So you can change 2 tires and 1 tank of gas, but you're gonna probably finish the fuel before. Mm-hmm. So you can take two tires and a tank and a half, and it's gonna be done fueling before you get to 4 tires. But if you take 2 tanks with 4 tires, you're gonna still be hung there for just about a second or so getting fuel
to finish that last can, if they need to use the full can. Plus, your car ends up being a little bit lighter too, the less fuel you take.
And the thing about it is, like I said, if they have figured that out that they can do it now, they're not clutching anymore. Now we're down to 10 to go.
Yeah. Mike Brush on the pits right here in the 53.
Kelly Kozla's coming into the pits.
Let's see what Brush does.
Kelly Kozla coming down on pit road right now.
Oh, now, Brush overshot, so I had to back up a little bit. He's getting right sides.
That was my thing, is what's Kelly Kozla going to take? What are everybody else taking for tires? Is it just right sides?
No, Bush is getting both. Full service.
I'm just going to say, I see that.
Kelly is now hitting his pit stall. Or maybe right not. Sides. What happened? There it is. Right sides. And Kelly will also get
he's taking
left
4
sides as well.
Now,
interesting.
This could be an advantage if they've done this early enough, because they'll come out with 4 tires and they know they can do the distance on 16 laps. Well, we're about 9 laps left to go. So they can go out and basically set qualifying laps and just try to run as hard as they can and hope that the other guys that are in front still have to make that other pit stop. They may come out without tires. So, no tires is going to make it harder. So everybody's pitting now. I just trying to get caught up with it. Javier Negron coming out in 4th. He is 1 lap down currently. Now, some of them could be a lap down due to the pit stops too.
Right, we have to let this cycle complete before these. Your ticker across the top of the screen will update itself every lap. Give it a couple laps before we get a real readout on the actual positions, because during a pit cycle it's going to be a little bit messed up. But yeah, we are within 9 to go now.
Kind of curious what Todd Wilson did. I'm going to go back and take a look.
All right, we're focused on Wilson right now. Showing him in 2nd place. We're going to get the proper reading here at the line.
And he took 4 tires, so I was curious to see what he would do for tires, but he took 4 tires.
Currently, the 11 of Wilson is in 4th position. He's led 27 laps tonight. 2nd place on laps led. Slowpoke currently being shown in 8th. The 8th car is in 8th, a lap down. Everybody on the track is a lap down except for the top 5.
That's because Dennis Chambers just pitted. He's actually headed out of pit road right now. That should cycle everybody back. The guys that were running relatively close to the lead cars there.
Right, because Chambers does have. Yeah, he's been leading the last couple laps. So
now,
all these guys.
Does Chambers come out with the lead, or does Wilson? Though Godfrey got it in and out of there ahead of Todd Wilson. So I'm wondering if he took 2 tires. The way Wilson's going down underneath him, I believe he might have, because Wilson just turned right underneath Godfrey and left him sitting there like he was, and so is Andrew Miller. So I think Godfrey may have taken 2 tires, and that's just kind of hurting him right now.
Right. And so they are. Chambers is in the lead still, the number 10 car. But Wilson is 2.82 seconds back from him. And he will be catching on to that draft. But they do all have fresh tires. Chambers will have the freshest tires of the bunch.
Yep.
Interesting strategy here. They definitely can all make it on fuel. It's just going to depend now how hard they're going to drive these things.
Yep. Shows. Let's see. So Todd Wilson's in 2nd, And okay, Chambers did get out ahead of him. Okay.
Yep. He is closing the gap, though. Last time at the stripe, it was
Seconds,
2.8. Now it's down to 2.1. You can see that little black box in the top of your screen there, the top left corner. That's the interval from the leader. So you can see, for instance, the 47 car in 10th position is 20.3 seconds away from the leader, not the car in front. That's from the leader.
So the advantage is that Todd has is that he's got Andrew Miller right behind him. So them guys get tucked in and close. They should be able to run down Chambers.
He's catching them.
We'll see. We're getting right
down.
down to it. We're about down to almost 3-4 laps to go. So they have got to get hooked together and get caught up to them, and then fight it out when they get there.
This is good because it was 2.1 or 2 right there, and they knocked her down to 1.7. So they are catching Chambers. Andrew Miller and Todd Wilson definitely have the drafting help. They're helping each other. And then Chambers is up here. He's actually drafting a lap down car there of Gary Mingus. So that's a good.
It's going to be close. They lost. They gained, but they didn't gain as much as they did.
Yeah.
Because they, like you said, he's got Mingus in front of him and he's using his air draft. But now Andrew Miller is right to the back bumper of Todd, and I think that's going to be a big difference if they can get right tight together and start, just basically doing qualifying laps in a draft. They might be able to catch him.
And they can use Mingus too. I mean, Mingus is going to stay out of the way because he's a lap down, doesn't want to mess the leaders up. But they can use him for drafting help as well to catch. And they did knock half a second off. Yeah, they went.
It's going to be close. They'll still use Mingus to try to get that draft up, but it's going to be interesting when we get there. I think we're on 2 to go right now.
Yeah. We're coming up to a white flag situation at the line. It will be 1 more to go. We're just going into turn 3 and 4 now. They did knock half a second off.
Mingus slows him down. Yep. Mingus pulls high and lets Todd Wilson by. Andrew Miller's coming down through behind him. Let's see how much. Oh yeah, they can see him now. They can smell him. Oh, about 0.67.
We are on the final lap.
Close.
It's going to go into helicopter cam, the most boring camera, but it is also the one that gives us the coolest looking view of the actual game.
Todd's running him down. It's going to be close. Can he get through the corner better than he does? Randy Waugh pulls up and gets out of the way of the 2 leaders.
White flag is up. Wilson goes a little bit high. I think Dennis Chambers is going to get this thing.
I believe it's going to happen.
Oh, there you go. If we had 1 more lap, what would have happened? We'll never know.
That's true. That was a good race, though.
That was a phenomenal race. 1 yellow flag. Dennis Chambers in the number 10 is your winner.
Good race for a good cause.
Yep. Give him the checkered flag, will ya? There's a little tap from the 86 to Andrew Miller. Congratulating the number 10 on his win here at the End Gun Violence 200, hosted by All-Star Racing. Make sure to check the links in the descriptable below.
Want to bring the top 3 up tonight, do we?
Yeah, we'll do the top 3, sure. Dennis Chambers, Todd Wilson. We'll also start with Andrew Miller in the 86. No damage on that car the whole night until the burnout.
And then he just tries to destroy it. Andrew Miller, we got you up here in the booth with us. Close! Didn't quite get her done.
Yeah, just glad I was able to keep it up as close as I did, but then I'm surprised I was able to do that. But hey, half a second within the win there, so can't complain.
You guys were running him down. I think we were just discussing that maybe if you had 1 more lap, it might have been a different story. The pit stop, we didn't quite catch when you pitted compared to when they pitted, so Dennis got out on you guys a little bit on that last pit stop.
Yeah, I wanted to say he may have taken 2 tires. I'm not certain, but I just know that my plan was to short pit and maybe try to undercut them. I think it worked on a couple guys, but then some others pitted right around me. I know he pitted the latest, so I was just thinking like, well, we'll see if we can run him down or not. Me and the 11. This is my first race with a lot of these guys, so Wasn't really sure what to expect, but oh yeah, congrats to Dennis there. He drove a fantastic race there, but we were trying. We were certainly trying.
Oh yeah, I spotted you out there and kind of said I knew that you'd be one to watch. I figured you probably would have won this thing tonight. It seems as every time I've done a broadcast race with you, you're usually right there, always right there in the top 3 anyway. So that was a pretty good race for you.
Yeah, I despite a pit road error and the one single caution of the entire race has honestly saved my butt, because I was going to have to pit again for left sides, and
we saw that.
Really ruined it. Yeah, that's what happens when you run anti-locks. The anti-lock decided to kick in right there and was like, "Oh no, we don't want you to lock up, so instead we're going to send you into the next pit stall." And it's like, you've got to be kidding me. So yeah, that was the caution of all cautions to save my butt right there.
Very good. All right.
Are you considering turning off anti-lock brakes, or are you going to leave them on?
Oh, they have the controller user. I have to keep them on.
Oh,
yeah. That's right too. Yeah.
You're a gamepad guy. Yep. You got to have them on the gamepad.
I've tried racing without them, and I just can't modulate. I just don't have the talent to modulate the brake enough to not do that. So
we got to get this guy a wheel.
I'll just try to work around it.
We got to get this guy a wheel.
Not really, dude. He's finishing in the top 3 in an all-star race like this. I mean, I don't think he needs a wheel. That's like Ulysses Sandoval used to use a keyboard, and he'd beat me all the time. So, like, look at me with a wheel. Like, I'm useless.
Yep.
But the guys at BSR have been trying to get me to use one. Heck, even KJ Julian Wilson sent me one, and it's like, I'm just on a laptop on my bed, just propped up on pillows, just having a good time, and I don't even have a desktop to do this on. So
you wouldn't even know.
Can't even use a wheel.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know how to do it. You're so used to doing it the way you're doing it. Just keep it going.
Then you got these guys that got racing rigs and all that stuff with, say $3,000 invest in their steering wheels, and here's Andrew Miller with a laptop and a controller. Yeah. Look at me.
$80 gamepad. Yeah.
You guys know I'm in here, right? You guys know I snuck in the booth, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
we leave the door unlocked.
All right. Well, now that I know this about Andrew, I'm going to have to disqualify him.
There you go.
I thought you knew that.
No, that's a great job. I wanted to be in here with you guys when you do the interviews, because that was a tremendous race. Really proud of all these guys.
Fantastic. Yep.
All right. Well, Andrew, you know the drill. We're gonna leave the floor to you and thank anybody you want to thank, and thank you much for coming out and racing tonight.
You got it. Well, first of all, I want to apologize to John Godfrey. I think at one point I kind of made a move on him that I don't think he was quite ready for, and I felt a little bad about it. It's like, man, I probably didn't need to be that aggressive. I've been feeling a bit down from some past races, so that was it's great to be able to run pretty much clean with these guys and get a top 3. So, but yeah, thanks, John, and sorry about that. Thank you, Brian, for putting on this deal, and you guys at ASR. Haven't run with you guys before, so that was cool. Of course, otherwise, shout out to Jaden. I love you a bunch. Kai, hope you got to see that. And of course, all the boys, Andy, Jamie, Ethan, Connor, Lance, and company. Had, of course, Powerade on the car, and Braylee's Journey on there as well. Braylee Fitzgerald going through a lot of health stuff. A lot of guys at another league have been kind of sharing her story, and just a young girl just trying to live her life, and instead getting in and out of the hospital. And so if anyone watching this has a chance, go check it out on Facebook, Braylee's Journey, and maybe show them some love.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
you were running
good fun
that
on Tarnation TV as well. Sorry.
Thanks, man. No, I was just going to say, keep going with that Braylee thing, because you were running that on the back of your car there.
Yeah. I when I was talking to Brian and realized, like, this was kind of a Cannon Hinnant tribute race, and got to thinking, like, well, let's see, what would be something that I could try to run, like, showing support for. And I was up in the air on a few things, but then I thought, you know what, I've been seeing some other league guys posting about Braylee's Journey here, and they're thinking, you know what, I think that this would be a cool opportunity to kind of get the word out there. But yeah, she's a young girl in Kentucky diagnosed with ANCA vasculitis. I had to pull up the Facebook page to remind myself of that.
That's a good one. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah. Whenever I look at all this, and I just go, oh my gosh, she's only 12, and she's going through, and she's so in and out of the hospital. She's just trying to live her life, and that hurt. That kind of hit me, and like that's really tough. But she's getting through it. So just want to show, hey, Rayleigh, you're staying strong, and all of us are sending our strength your way as well, and just keep fighting, keep the journey going.
Very cool.
Yeah, if I could say something about that, I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew. I'm really proud of you, man, because you just captured the essence of what this particular event has really grown into, and it continues to grow into. And that's guys like you that show this compassion for the different things that you care about, and you bringing that into this event was 100 times more than what I could have asked for, as far as the quality of people that I want involved in this event, man. Top notch and great race tonight.
Hey, thank you for putting it on, man, and I'm glad. I know it was a little bit late notice, but I'm glad you let me on board. That was cool. That was a fun track, a fun setup. I had a blast doing it. Worked my way up through the field there. Again, sorry to John for kind of racing a little hard there. I hope I made up for it by kind of trying to give a little more room there after this set of pit stops. So still sorry about that, but yeah, a great and fun night here, and Godspeed to Cannon.
Hey, Dinger.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
No problem, guys. Take it easy.
Who do you got next there, Rod?
We have got
Looks like Todd Wilson.
Second place finisher for the night. Take him.
Todd, man, awesome race. We were watching this thing and watching you lead those laps between you and Slowpoke, dominating this thing, and at the end, you're reeling Chambers in, but you needed just one more lap, I think, and it would have been door-to-door photo finish.
Yeah, Blaine, that's really what we needed there at the end. Our car was really, really good on the long run. Just came up a little short there at the end. I think, one more lap would have definitely done it. I took 4 tires at the end, that last pit stop, and I believe that Dennis took only 2 tires. But yeah, I'll definitely be replaying those last 8 laps on my head all week.
Yeah.
It was awesome how it came down to a tire game. You're like, who's going to get the 2 and who's going to get the 4? And it really did come down to like a less than a second. The interval, we were watching that interval just decrease as those last half dozen laps were ticking away, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a good one. And it definitely was a good one. Gave him a run for his money. I bet you he was watching that thing.
Oh, absolutely. Those last 8 laps, there's all kinds of things, that I'm running through my head right now, like the woulda, coulda, shoulda moments. Like when I was coming off pit road, for example, there was a slower lap car in front of me that kind of slowed me up just a little bit. And, could that have been the difference, and then trying to navigate some of the other lap traffic around the track. Could that have made a difference in the end? I don't know. But hats off to Dennis. He's a great competitor. He ran a great race, and it just came down to the strategy at the end. I knew from practice earlier today that the tire wear was going to be an issue, and so that's why I committed to the 4 tire strategy. I was like, I'd rather have 4 tires than 2, and especially if we were to get a caution at the end of the race. I don't think I would have wanted to come down pit road with 2 or 3 laps, to go or whatever. So I was trying to think ahead along those lines as well, but just came up a little short. But it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun to watch. It was a fantastic race, and watching you guys do what you do is great. First time I've been in an ASR server, so I mean, you might not see the last of me.
Hey, we appreciate you guys coming over. Absolutely, we're All-Star Racing, and we're committed to delivering that kind of racing, all-star racing.
How long have you been with the league?
I've been here since I think 2015, so
nice.
Going on my 10-year anniversary. Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice.
That's cool. I love that, man. This league's been around a lot of leagues have been around a long time, a lot of us bought this game when it first came out in 2003, and we're still doing it here in 2024. So, thanks for joining us in the booth, man. Congratulations on your second place finish.
I got a pipe in here. You know that.
Piping the piper.
I just want to say, Todd, number one, thank you, man. The decision to put you in that paint scheme was just like the best decision I made surrounding this entire race, because it's such an important piece to Cannon's story, as far as like all the good and the positive things that have come out of that tragedy. And to have you in there and put that car up in the top three is just, I'm beside myself with pride. I mean, that car needs to go in the Hall of Fame, and we're going to figure out something to do with that, because that is just, what an outstanding performance, man. That was just tremendous.
Well, thank you, Brian. And if I could make another comment, I would like to thank Bernie Mobbs for the incredible job he did with that paint scheme, first of all, and then of course thanks to you, Brian, for all the hard work that you did to put on this race. And also, I'd like to explain how humbling it was to me to be able to run the Wilson Miracle League car tonight. I think that the Wilson Miracle League embodies the spirit of racing, overcoming obstacles and creating opportunities for those who need it the most. And I know that like a lot of Miracle Leagues around the country, they're in the business of turning challenges into victories, much like we try to do on the track. So it's fitting that, we honor their work as we honor Cannon's memory tonight, knowing that the race that we ran today echoes their mission to bring joy and hope to so many young lives.
I'm speechless after that, dude. You just put the feather in the cap on this race, man.
Yeah.
What a tremendous job, man. I couldn't be more proud of this event, and it makes, it's all you guys put together that really makes it. All you guys participating, and I might as well go ahead and finish this up right now before we talk to Dennis. But I would like to say again, Todd, thank you, and thank you for helping me with the admin duties and all the stuff that you put into, Trips race last month, and helping me with this and keeping this together. And this is where Cannon's event, I think, is going to stay. Just really glad we landed here, and I'd like to say I'm speechless. I'm really not, but man, great job.
Yep, thank you, and thanks again to you guys there at Tarnation. Again, a special shout out to all the folks at the Wilson Miracle League, and continued thoughts and prayers for Cannon's family as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
I'm just going to mention again, obviously I appreciate you guys letting me join. As I was telling Brian, I didn't.
I sent him down when he was talking, I think. I took you away, Dennis. Sorry.
Not a problem.
But anyways, you're up here in the booth here with Blaine, myself, Brian. So, first place. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I can't say it enough that I feel very fortunate for a few reasons at the very least.
I was going to say, yeah, we were watching the interval countdown those last few laps, just watching Wilson reel you in, and you guys would have been door to door if there was one more lap, dude. So you were obviously just running out of that rearview mirror, but then you were able to use Mingus as a lap down card to probably get some drafting help.
Yeah, a little bit. I was paying a lot of attention. As far as coming off pit road, even on the apron and coming out onto the backstretch, and when I finally got up to speed or close to it, and looking at the F2 window and seeing that he was counting himself, he had 3 cars versus me kind of had 2 with the lapper that was creeping up in front of me. And that was what probably the number one thing I was really paying attention to. And of course, as I said, after lap after lap after lap, what few there was left, and it was like, him slowly reeling me in. It was like, yeah, I can kind of see what this is kind of boiling down to.
And it was definitely a tire race. You had no issues with the fuel, right?
No, I was still close to about a lap to the good.
Nice. Yeah, we're always looking at that, and when it comes down to a pit strategy race too, like you go in for 2 or 4, do you take all tires or just 2 to get the track position, and is there enough laps left in the race to have that be beneficial or not? Like, it's all on that bubble. It always comes down, especially when you run a 60-lap race and literally only had 3 laps under caution, 1 yellow, 3 laps. You couldn't have asked for a better race.
Oh, and I couldn't agree more. And you're absolutely correct. That the run before making my last stop, again, having my window up, paying attention to what it was saying that I was needing for fuel, and it kept kind of switching back and forth. And then I got to clutching a little bit, and, it was kind of switching a little less and a little less. And so at that point, I was kind of like, well, if I can still keep pace with Todd, who was leading at that point, I was like, I think I'm just going to, clutch the heck out of it and just kind of see what happens as far as what it's telling me when it is time to pit. And so it was kind of to some degree, it was almost kind of a last second decision, taking the 2 in a can.
So how long have you, I always like getting into league talk too, how long have you been with this league? Because this league's been around a long time.
Yeah, I joined, I believe it was either 2020 or 2021, so it's been either 3 or 4 years roughly.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of guys. How long has the league actually been around? Is there has it been since 2003 when the game was released?
I believe it's been at least that long. We'd have to get Dave in here.
Yeah.
To talk a little bit about the history, but real quick, while I'm still here, Dennis, man, thanks for coming in, even though it was last minute. And I got to tell this story before. And Blaine, and Rod, if you look back to just before the race started, when Dennis came in, we were getting his car file and that together, and he was very thankful. He said, "Thanks for letting me get in here last night." I said, "All right." I said, "Just don't win." And kind of jokingly, he's like, what's he do? He didn't even know about the race this afternoon. Comes in and wins the thing, man. But that was a tremendous drive there, buddy. That was really good, and I'm glad you made it.
No, and again, I definitely appreciate it. And sorry for the additional work that you guys all had to do to get me ready and situated. Again, obviously appreciate it at the same time. And like I said, it just one of the few things, like I said, that obviously definitely worked in my favor.
No, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Congratulations on the win. And thanks for having us, ASR, bringing this event to your servers and the Team Speaks and all the software required. Thanks for letting us use your facilities.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to pop Dave back down in here for just a second. If you guys, I know you're probably anxious to close this out. I actually have to get going here real soon myself, but I'm going to pop Dave down in here. He's kind of our head admin, and I don't know if he's exactly one of the founders. He could tell you the story better than I could, but hang on one second.
That's it.
There he goes.
I'm just going to mention something real quick if I can, and let you guys get back to what you want to do, but I just want to thank you folks again for letting me join last minute thing. Thank you guys as well, Tarnation TV, for putting this on. I've said this for a long time. You guys that do this, televise the races and everything else. I mean, that takes time out of your guys' schedule and everything else. And I'll be the first to say that as a driver, we definitely all appreciate it when you guys do that. As far as ASR goes, great place to race. Thank you, Dave, and the admins and everything else for what they do. As far as the race goes tonight, I understand that this was a memorial race for Mr. Cannon. Heard that his family was watching, so this is obviously dedicated all to them, and hopefully they enjoyed the race. And just sponsorship on my end, Jim Salad Company, and hopefully friends and family, they all enjoyed it.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Very good. Good job.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Brian.
No, I just want to kind of piggyback off what Dennis was just saying, and while we have Dave here in the booth with us, he can tell you a little bit more about the league's actual history, like when it was founded, perhaps, and stuff like that. But I want to take this opportunity to thank, while he's here, to thank you, Dave, the league, everybody in the league, for donating, not only your time, but, the RLM Arena channel, the TeamSpeak channel here. And, because without any of this stuff doesn't happen. And it just doesn't happen if you guys aren't present. And, Blaine, same to you. You donated, you didn't charge us for this broadcast. You've been on board with this Cannon event, for the last 4 years. And I really, really appreciate it, because, again, without you guys, this stuff doesn't happen. So thanks for, really, for lack of a better word, catering to me in this whole event, because without that, it doesn't happen. And, I know you guys have heard the saying or the expression that if you want to be successful at anything, you have to surround yourself with the best people, the most successful people. And that's what we've done here. And I couldn't be more grateful.
Hopefully we'll do it again next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dave, Blaine was asking about a little bit of the history of the league, about how long we've been around and stuff.
Yeah, this league used to be called CCR years ago, and run by a gentleman named Herc. A lot of guys in the racing community knew him, but he decided to quit, and he turned it over to the league over to me. And so me and 3 other gentlemen, Postal, Bergie, and Greg Artlook, took it over, and we changed the name to ASR for All-Star Racing. And that's been about 11 and a half years, I think. And we're just a bunch of guys like to get together and talk, and a race breaks out.
Nice. That's the best
awesome.
company to be in.
Well, it's so, you get to meet a lot of different people, like we got Stanley that races with us on Wednesdays from Australia. You just meet people from all over this country and from Canada, and become good friends with them.
Yeah, a lot of friends online. It's funny, you never actually meet these people, but everybody knows everybody because you've just been racing for years, and the glory of the internet brings us all together.
Yeah, I've only met one gentleman in our league in person, and he called me on a Sunday morning and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I ain't doing nothing." He said, "Well, I'm in town." He's from Maine. I said, "You're in town?" He said, "Yeah, well, me and my wife were in D.C. and I thought I wanted to go see Dave."
Nice.
And I'm in Portsmouth, Virginia, so they drove like 4 hours to get here, and so I went out and met him.
Yeah, really.
I've raced in a few different leagues and actually got to physically meet some of the drivers that I raced with. Fortunate enough to do that. Was pretty cool.
It's, like I said, it's pretty awesome. The people you meet and the bonds you make with them. Was never really meeting them in person, but just learning all about them over the years. And most of our guys, including Brian was with us for a long time and left and went race at another place and came back. But you feel like known them your whole life, because you learn so much about what is going on in their life and stuff like that.
Yeah, I talked a little bit about that earlier, about how Blaine and I met, and then I raced here like 11, 12 years ago or something.
Yeah.
That's where I got my first real taste of actual league points racing. And then I went, I floated around all over the sim community, racing from league to league and stuff. And then I kind of ended up back here. So I feel like my racing has kind of come full circle. You know what I mean? I was telling these guys, Dave here, he's like my biggest cheerleader, and what I mean by
you've improved so much. You're a great driver.
Well, what I actually meant by that was, my being the biggest cheerleader was, he's the one that's on the bottom. They can't get him to the top of that pyramid, on the cheerleading spot. No, I'm just messing with you, Dave. We got to close up this broadcast, though. I think Slingshot might have something for us, some stats or something.
Oh, you got the stats, Gary?
Slingshot silly statistics, folks. We put them out to the guys on TeamSpeak, but coming from Tallahassee, Florida, I've been personally, this race was just phenomenal. It was outstanding, and although I was a little late getting in here, we got that straightened out. I was proud to be a part of this. The Slingshot silly statistics are as follows. The fastest lap of the night and honorable mention was Kelly Causey. In 5th place, ASR Dinger, Wayne My Dinger. Not your dinger, but my dinger. 36.125 seconds, 199.308 miles per hour on lap 4. In 4th place was Ed Dion, 36.107 seconds, 199.408 on lap 38. In 3rd place, our fearless leader, David Chin, ASR DC 88, did 36.082 seconds, 199.546 miles per hour on lap 24. And in 2nd place, Perry Bones. He did a 36.075, 199.585 miles per hour on lap 3. And the fastest lap of the night goes to my friend Ulysses Sandoval. He did a 36.074 seconds, 199.590 miles per hour on lap 39. We had a total.
He must have been doing that lap when he was running me over.
Yeah. And, we had a number of lead changes, and that included 7 people. The most laps led, of course, was Todd Wilson. Slowpoke, he led 20. Todd Wilson led 27 laps. Slowpoke, Wayne did 14 laps. Dennis Chambers, the winner, he did 10 laps. And, of course, the last one, which is really important, Andrew Miller, he led 4 laps. Dinger, Wayne My Dinger led 2 laps. Ulysses Sandoval led 2. And our last place finisher, unfortunately, did lead 1 lap. That was Robin Hudson, ASR HUD. And the highest climber of the night, of course, was Dennis Chambers. He started in 24th position, finished 1st. And that was just 10 laps faster than anybody else on the track as far as leading laps and climbing.
All right, thank you for that, Gary. Yeah, I'll let you guys, I got to jump up out of here and let you guys close this one out. Tremendous effort by everybody. What a, I'm going to call this a success all the way around. My own personal race was, not so much, but but I had so many. I make no excuses. I just had too much on my mind. I just couldn't focus on one thing tonight. But what a tremendous effort by everybody. I'm just so pleased and I'm proud of this event. And thanks everybody. I got to run.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Brian. Yeah, the race was fantastic, man. So that was, it couldn't have been a better event. And thanks again, Dave, for, letting us use the facilities tonight, the TeamSpeak, the servers, the tracks, the setups, all that stuff, man. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Can't wait to have y'all back.
Awesome. I'm going to kick both of you guys out of here, and Rod and I are going to wrap this up. Thanks again. Have a good night.
Thank you, Blaine.
Cool. Rod, let's do this thing, buddy. That was pretty awesome.
It was a good race.
Yeah,
good
man.
race for a good cause. I was surprised that they went 1 caution. That was cool. I kind of figured Andrew Miller might be further up there, but he did good, 3rd place.
Yeah, great race. Only having the 1 yellow, and it came early.
Yep.
It led to a fantastic finish on tire strategy that paid off right down to the last 0.23 seconds.
Yeah, I love those strategy races. I love it when you have a race like that just, you never really know what's going to happen. You don't have a dominant. Yeah, we had dominant cars here and there. Slowpoke was good at the beginning. Wilson came up there and got it. And then just who's decided when to pit, when they pitted, how they pitted, what they took for tires. It's pretty good. Yeah, it was a darn good race.
Yeah, phenomenal race. Thanks a lot, Rod, for helping me call this thing.
Not a problem.
Yeah, man. Thanks to Brian for organizing it and getting a lot of stuff done that I could plug into the broadcast. Saved me a lot of time. Thanks, obviously, to Dave and the whole crew over at ASR. As I said, too, it's ASR. What is it? What's the website? www.asracingn2k3.net. That's the website for this league. League's been around a long time. And hey, they know what they're doing. They run a tight ship. They got a lot of talented drivers, some fresh names tonight. A lot of fun to call this race. So thanks again to ASR. Thanks again to Brian Wolf and Rod Wilson. Rod Weston.
Yep.
The guy who won the race was Wilson. Weston. Everybody's involved. But one of these days I'll learn your name.
That's right.
Barely even know my own name. My name's Blaine. That's Rod. Thanks again to everybody who tuned in tonight and watching Tarnation TV. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice.